And joining us now is our friend Armstrong Williams, author and radio host. Hey, Armstrong.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
How are you? Where are you that it's morning?
Where's I what now?
No, you said good morning, Steve. I said, where are you that it's morning?
Oh, God, I've had a long day. You ever had one of those days?
I'm only kidding, only teasing you, my friend. Okay. Yes, all right. Now, someone else who's having a long day is our fine, upstanding Secretary of State, John Kerry, who is testifying before the Senate on why we should bomb Syria. You wrote a piece at townhall.com today pondering escalating the U.S. presence in Syria, and you don't like that prospect.
You know, Syria is only a prelude for us going to war with Iran. Why else would the President, Boehner, Pelosi, and Kent all agree? Many of the hawks, Steve, within the GOP have wanted to take on Iran, and now the President has colluded with them for the perfect storm. This is meant to, and will without a doubt, spill over into Iran. We have been at war with the greater population in the Middle East for quite some time. Who are we striking in Syria, Mr. President, and your GOP leadership is what we should ask them that are playing you for their own military-industrial complex agenda. See, the problem is we shouldn't be fooled by the uniting of the President and the GOP leadership on declaring this military action against Syria. You don't even have to wonder anymore why the President decided to ask for Congress's permission, because he already had it. I mean, if you take a look at Prime Minister David Cameron, who asked for the British Parliament to support this ill-conceived strike in Syria, they told him no. But however, the British parliamentary vote was a non-binding resolution, meaning the Prime Minister was not required to follow their lead. But in his wisdom, he chose to acquiesce to the wishes of his people. President Obama should do the same, and because the overall majority of Americans do not support the striking of Syria.
Well, I agree with you. I've seen poll after poll, and if the people were asked, would you agree with striking Syria for the benefit of Al Qaeda? I'm sure 90% would say no, but that question's not asked. But it might as well be asked. But I wonder why you say. First of all, I think Boehner's a joke.
I didn't say Boehner was a joke.
I did. I think he's a joke on many fronts. I don't think he's a leader. And I can't believe that he already just, one sit-down session, he's already on board with this, way before the debate even started. But what so you think that the master plan here
is Iran?
Is Iran really?
Think about it. Yes. What other way could he get Boehner and those on board? They want to go into Iran.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why do they want to go in? Why does Obama want to go into Iran all of a sudden when, he'd just as soon have lunch with Ahmadinejad? I don't get it. Why?
They actually believe that Iran is a threat to the Middle East, to Israel, and to the world. They're developing nuclear weapons, and they want to stop and destroy their nuclear plants. They want to take them out. And they need a reason. They just can't go in. Plus, Israel, remember the saber rattling a year ago. Israel was going in to strike Iran before the election, and Obama convinced them not to. They convinced them not to. They told them to wait, give them time. Now they found the perfect storm to go in there. Yeah. And I'm sure Israel is helping gathering intelligence on it.
Oh, well, I'm sure Israel has plenty of intelligence, and I'm sure, but this president has, done everything he can to ratchet down the bluster and to say, hey, Israel, don't do it, and don't do it. I'm just a little confused. Look, I would favor a strike on Iran. See, that I could favor. That would do something, because Iran is a threat to the United States. Syria is not a threat to the United States.
But let me tell you, the problem is this. What complicates this even more is that we don't know much about who the Syrian opposition is.
Right.
There's going to be increasing calls, Steve, to arm the opposition and provide more support than we've already currently provided. But as we've seen, and you've talked about this on your show, in the Middle East, alliances are fleeting, and sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know.
Absolutely.
And if you look at Egypt's Mubarak, who was a dictator, but Egypt was stable for decades.
Right.
Not a country of 90 million people are in a chaos and on the brink of collapse. The point is, and you made this point before, if you don't think things can get worse, they can, and especially in the Middle East. It's all well and good, the drumbeat that Assad has to go, but who comes after him is the real question. What's going to keep the country from descending into chaos in the interim even more than it is now? I mean, look at what power vacuums resulted in Iraq and Egypt. There is widespread violence. The economy is on the verge of collapsing. There is huge uncertainty and no political stability. It adds more instability, Steve, to a region that is one of the most dangerous areas in the world that continues to remain on the edge of brinkmanship, on the edge of collapse.
I couldn't agree with more with everything you're saying. It seems like Obama, since he has come in, has been dead set on putting, the bad guys in charge. And sure, Mubarak is a ruthless dictator, but he was keeping the peace. Our national interests were served. So are they being served by Assad? Our national interests, are being served. And you get the Muslim Brotherhood in charge, and Libya. We knew that if we just threatened Gaddafi, he'd obey us. Once Reagan killed his daughter, I didn't see the point in that. I didn't see the point in going after Mubarak. I don't see the point in this. But there's one common thread: put the bad guys in charge. Maybe Obama doesn't consider the bad guys that we consider bad guys as bad guys, if you know what I mean.
I have to tell you, I don't understand. The thing about it, here, our toughest dilemma, though, is that the United States is not in a position where it must act in some capacity. And what does it mean? If we don't want to become embroiled in a long-term conflict, we're reduced to making surgical strikes from the air. But what is our real goal? Is it to slap them on the wrist or the capacity to degrade their ability to make such a...
Well, Kerry today, and we're finishing up here, Armstrong, just so you know, Kerry today, first of all, said our capacity is not to send a message, it's to degrade his capabilities. Mm-hmm. Yet Kerry also said he would not rule out boots on the ground, and then he took that back later in this hearings, but all this at the hearing, and then took it back.
Boots on the ground. Are they crazy?
Yes, he said he said he would not. He says everything must be on the table, and then later on he said we could put it in the resolution that there would be no boots on the ground. He walked it back. Listen, I got 30 seconds. Finish up.
I'm exasperated.
Well, yeah. If you go to Drudge, you'll see it's the headline. It says boots or no boots. Crazy stuff. Armstrong, I think you're on the right track here, my friend. I thank you for the time, as always. Armstrong Williams, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, the legendary Hall of Fame coach of the Minnesota Vikings in years gone by, 4 Super Bowl appearances, and you'll find out a lot about Bud Grant on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away.